Hey, magical experimenters. Taylor Ellwood here. I know I didn't do an announcement today that I was going to be doing a video today, and you're not going to get an announcement about tomorrow because I'm not going to actually be in a space where I can do videos because I'm going to be traveling. Woohoo! Fun, fun. But I thought, I wanted to do a video this week, and I wanted to make sure that I shared some thoughts, and this topic's been on my mind for a couple different reasons. The topic of self-sufficiency in magic, and one of those reasons is because I've recently had some different people contact me and say, hey Taylor, can you help me out? Here's my problem, can you solve it for me with magic? And I'm like, no, I can't. And then I refer them to someone else and I say, you can go talk to this person, or this person might have what you need, but I'm not the person to do that for you. And the second reason is because I was doing a presentation the other night on how to modify other people's magical workings, and one of the things that I talked about is well, basically my thoughts about around being self-sufficient in magical works. I thought, you know what, I should actually share that on here, and so here I am doing that now. So I've always been a self-sufficient person. I've had to be since I was a little kid. I had to learn how to take care of myself. I mean, my stepmom would literally shoo me out of the house and be like, go somewhere else and don't come back all day until the evening when your dad comes home. And I would be expected to basically go out and entertain myself. I wasn't allowed to play video games when I wanted to. I wasn't allowed to do anything else. And I mean, she'd make me lunch, but eventually she taught me how to make lunch. So I learned how to make lunch pretty early on. And the expectation is you don't come home. You stay wherever you're at, and you do your own thing. You take care of yourself. And that really didn't change when I went and I lived with my mom. I mean, I all of a sudden was 14 years old, and I went and lived with my mom, and my mom said, if you want to earn money for yourself, then you have to go to work. And so I got a job at 14, which I know nowadays is pretty much unheard of, but back, and even when I went to work was pretty unheard of. I mean, generally people didn't go to start working until 15 or so. I started work when I was 14. This is back in the early 1990s, and because my mom was like, if you want money, then go earn it yourself. I'm not going to give you an allowance. And at the same time, she was like, you need to do your part around the house. You need to help out. Well, fortunately for her, I learned a lot of that from my stepmom, because my stepmom basically made sure that I cleaned up after myself and all the other stuff. Like I was an incredibly self-sufficient kid, and that translated over to being a self-sufficient teenager. I cooked for myself. I took care of my own laundry. I did all kinds of other stuff. My wife frankly thinks she's lucky because of the fact that I actually clean around the house and do other stuff, which I guess most guys even to this day and age don't do, which I think is weird, but hey, that's just me. But I've always basically been fairly self-sufficient, and this translates over to magical work. For those of you joining live, hello, and feel free to comment or like or whatever you want to do, or not. No skin off my back either way. And so anyway, I've learned to be self-sufficient early on, and so the same thing happened with magic. I mean, when I picked up my first magic book when I was 16. I started reading it, and I had a teacher like around that time, very briefly. This other kid, and he told me how he was going to teach me magic, and within a week he called me up and he said, I can't teach you magic. And I'm like, well, why not? And he said, because you have no soul. Yep. That's what I heard. I was told that I had no soul and that he couldn't teach me magic. I realized at the time that he was trying to discourage me, and I decided that I was going to prove him wrong, and that not only that, but that within a year I was going to be a better magician than him. And so I started practicing magic. I started reading those books. I started doing everything I could, and within a year I was better than him, and I realized that really he was afraid of me and afraid of my drive. And it's why I actually don't really have a good relationship with mentors in general. I do have one mentor that I have a ton of respect for. I don't agree with everything he says. And that's R.J. Stewart. He and I've taken some of his classes and I read his books, and I do a lot of work around the stuff that he shared. I have a ton of respect for him. I don't agree with him on everything. I don't agree with his stance on pop culture magic, for example, and I don't agree with him about some other stuff, but awesome guy. And, we're just different generations, and that's cool. But my other mentor experience that I had that wasn't so positive was this guy who was a member of the Temple of Psychic Youth, and I remember telling him about pop culture magic in the 1990s and like my ideas for it, and he told me that it wasn't real magic and that I needed to learn, what real magic was. At this point, I've been practicing magic for 5 years, and I knew what real magic was. I also knew he didn't have any creativity or imagination, despite, or perhaps because he called himself a chaos magician. I don't know. I've met a lot of chaos magicians who aren't all that creative. So there you go. So anyway, I learned early on really that I couldn't rely upon other people when it came to magic, that I had to teach myself. And so I read a lot of books, and I taught myself a lot of magic, and then I taught myself how to modify and create my own systems of magic, and so it goes. So I'm an incredibly self-sufficient person when it comes to magic. There are very, very few rare events where I would really ask for or want help from other people. I have a friend of mine who does astrological readings for me on occasion, and I'll go with him, but that's because I don't want to learn astrology, and he's really good at it. And I have no problem supporting his work. And I have a few other people that I might say like, hey, could you help me with X? But in general, not really. And this translates over to the fact that when it comes to magical work, I don't generally believe in doing magic for other people. And it doesn't matter that if someone came to me and said, I'll pay you a lot of money to do magic to help me out of a fix, I'd be like, I'm not interested. Part of that is because I want to experiment with magic. I don't want to put time toward other people. And part of it's because I frankly just don't have the emotional bandwidth to care enough. That sounds harsh, but it's true. There are very few people I would do something for when it comes to magic, or really anything for that matter. And it's not that I'm a misanthrope per se, but I'm just very particular. Like, if you're on my list of special people that I genuinely love and care about, then I will move the universe for you. I will do anything for you pretty much because I care about you that much and I love you that much. But if you're not on that list, I might like you and I may help you out in some ways, but I'm not going to go to that length because that's only for certain people. And even then, with those people, I will still end up sometimes really just taking the option of suck it up, buttercup, and figure it out, because that's what I had to do. I've had to do that all my life. I've had help at different times. I mean, I'm not going to say I haven't. I've always had help. And that's where I'm willing to give help out. But I'm not willing to do something for somebody else. And it's because I think that in the end, it's better for people to learn how to do it themselves. I'm of the approach that, instead of you can either fish for somebody or you can teach them to fish. That's the old saying, right? I'd rather teach them how to fish. And that's really why my writing and all that is geared the way it is. It's really geared around, I'm going to empower you to become a better magician. I'm going to show you how to do the things that you want to do with magic, and let you do it yourself, and let you have your failures and your mistakes and your successes and everything else, because you will come away from that stronger, and that's part of your experience. And I want to be clear, I know there are people out there who offer magic, as like a service, like, people can go and pay them for that, and hey, if that works for you, great. I don't think there's anything wrong with it per se. It's just not something I'm interested in. And as I said, I'm not emotionally invested enough. And I find for myself, I have to have an emotional investment to really want to do something along those lines for someone. If I don't, it just doesn't really seem to work. And I've tested that out before, I might add. And I find that like without that emotional investment, it just doesn't happen. Whereas if there's an emotional investment, then yeah, like I said, I'll help somebody out. But you know, for some people who are like, oh, I got a problem and I need someone else, I need someone else's help, and you know, like, hey, I'll happily refer you. I know a number of people who offer magic in return for like offer magic services in return for payment, and that's cool. And hey, go them for figuring that out and for that being something they want to do. But I would rather just teach you how to become self-sufficient and do magic for yourself. I'd rather that you learned how to solve your own problems instead of relying upon me or anyone else. Because at the end of the day, how good does it feel to know that you've been able to take care of it yourself? How good does it feel to know that you can handle whatever situation comes up? I know some people will say, but not everyone wants to learn magic. And my response to that then is that's fine. They don't have to learn magic. Again, they can go to somebody else if they really want to, but just don't come to me. I'm not going to help you because that's not my philosophy. It's not my approach. I'm going to tell you, learn how to do it yourself. And here's some resources and I'll give you a bit of advice. And then I'll kick you out of the nest and send you on your way because that's what's best for you in my mind. And it really is a reflection of how I was raised. I was raised to basically take care of myself. From very early on, I was told, okay, you want this, then you figure it out. I didn't have somebody there to take care of me, per se. You know, I had to learn how to take care of myself. And I'll just say it, it's a hard world out there. It is a hard world sometimes. And you have to learn how to take care of yourself at some point or another. I know I'm going to sound like a crotchety old fart here, but when it comes to the to the current generation of people that are like just becoming in their 20s and all that, honestly, I worry a little bit. Like y'all seem a little coddled, and spoiled. But you know what? That's just my perception, and I could be totally wrong, and I have no problem admitting it. Because I'm sure somebody said the same thing about me when I was in my early 20s and all that. But I just like the idea of not being able to clean up after yourself or take care of other things or whatever else, and this extends to magic too, just kind of boggles the mind. Like, do we really need to take care of you that much? So I'm always gonna shoot straight with you, and I'm gonna tell you, like, here's what I can do, and here's what I can't do. And here's why. And I'm doing it really from a place of tough love. Like I want you to succeed in your whatever it is that you're dealing with. I want you to solve your own problems. I want you to do that. And I personally find that sometimes the best drive in the world is that drive of, oh, I'm in this situation and I've got to figure something out. And I'm up against the wall. That's how I've had some of my best innovations with magic and really just in life in general. When I was 20 years old, actually when I was 18, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, manic depression. And, you know, I was told by the doctor, you know, you could take medication to manage this. And I was like, no, not going to do it. I'm going to figure out a different way. And I did. When I was 20 years old, I found a solution that worked for me. I ended up going in and working with my serotonin and adjusting things. And it's why I wrote the Inner Alchemy book, the Inner Alchemy of Life book series, really. Like, here's how you can do this stuff. Will everyone do it? Probably not. I don't know that most people will do it, but it's there. You know, somebody could say, well, Taylor, why don't you just sell a service? Why don't you just solve these problems for these people? And it's like, again, A, I'd get bored. I wouldn't want to do it all the time. It just wouldn't interest me anymore. But B, I don't think that I would really be doing you a service. I know that sounds harsh in a way, but there it is. I don't think I would be doing the best I could by you if I did that. And that's why I don't believe in doing it. I think that, you know, that there are situations where no matter how self-sufficient you are, like, you know, things happen and you do need extra help. And again, that's where, you know, if you've got a great network of friends and everything else, that's awesome. Or if you can reach out to people. And sometimes that's why I refer people on to other people. Sometimes you don't have the bandwidth to solve your own problems at that time because you just have too much going on. Or sometimes you do need some extra help. And for that, I will always, I always try to do my best then too, because I do try to consider those things, because I know someday I'll be in that situation myself, probably. Maybe, maybe not. And occasionally I have been in that situation even before. I've had stuff come up, and I've had to, if I didn't have the help that I have had in my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. There is a lot of truth to the fact that there is no such thing as being your own island. Um, but I think it is worthwhile to cultivate being as self-sufficient as possible when it comes to life and magic. And I don't know, maybe I'm really alone in that particular perspective anymore. But it's something that if I what it's like this. If something were to happen tomorrow and I ended up alone, would it be hard? Yeah. Would I have to pick up the pieces? You better believe it. But could I do it? Yeah, I could. It'd be hard work, and I would have to do a lot, you know, but I would do whatever it took, because and I might ask for a bit of help, but in the end it would ultimately be about, I need to be sufficient and independent on my own. I need to take care of myself so that I can do what I got to do. And that's my philosophy, and it's why I don't help people with it's why I don't do magic for other people, and it's why I never will. I'll teach you what to do. I'll write books for you. I'll bounce ideas off of things with you, but I'm not ever going to do magic for you, because I don't believe in doing magic for other people. And I guess really that's a third reason right there. I don't believe in doing magic for other people, and so there is some part of me that essentially rejects that, unless there's a specific caveat. Unless one of two things: a, it's an interesting enough challenge for me to do it because I'm intrigued and I think, I could do that. Or b, I care about you and I love you enough to really want to do something for you. Like, you matter that much to me. But again, that's few and far between, because, well, because I'm a dragon at heart. I really am, for better or worse. And because I'm a product of my own, I'm a product of how I was raised. I mean, I love my parents, but each in their own way has just been kind of cold and hard, And that's okay. It's made me who I am, for better or worse. So there you have it, and thanks for listening, and have a great day. See you next week.